Welcome to LexiCast, a podcast designed to help you grow in your legal practice, with weekly updates on current topics, trends, and practical insights. Perfect for listening on the go. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to try and cut through some of the overwhelming noise around innovation and technology in the legal world.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype out there.
Exactly. You've probably been swamped with it. But our mission here is really to bring some clarity, help you zero in on what actually matters for your practice, for your clients.
Precisely. And this deep dive, it's really aimed at helping you focus your thinking. Identify what genuinely works, what might work for you, and then, frankly, discard the rest.
Yeah.
We're drawing on a really insightful paper about this.
Okay, good. So let's unpack this first big word, innovation. We hear it constantly. But how do we properly define it in a legal context? Because it feels like it often gets mixed up with just, adding new tech or maybe even inventing something completely new.
That's a really crucial distinction to make right at the start. So innovation isn't the same as invention. Invention is, like you said, creating something brand new. Think of the first airplane, right? That's invention. Innovation, on the other hand, it's more about restructuring or reorganizing.
Yeah.
Transforming an existing process.
Yeah.
Or maybe an existing thing.
Okay. So changing how we do something that already exists.
Exactly. A good legal example might be innovating document review. Instead of doing it the old way, maybe you send that high-volume work to an offshore, low-cost center. That's transforming the process.
Got it. So it's about finding a smarter, maybe more efficient way, not necessarily building a brand new tool from the ground up.
Precisely. And another key point, innovation isn't just technology. Technology can be a powerful tool, no doubt. It can be part of an innovation, like using AI for contract review within that offshore center example we just used. That enhances the process innovation. But technology isn't always required for innovation itself.
Right. And just adding tech doesn't automatically make something innovative, does it?
Not at all. In fact, adding tech just for technology's sake, that's rarely useful, sometimes even counterproductive. Think about using blockchain for paying for petrol. Credit cards work perfectly well, right? There's no real problem being solved there.
Yeah, feels like a solution looking for a problem.
Exactly. Or maybe using Gen AI as a simple replacement for Google search. It might not be better, could even introduce errors or hallucinations. So true innovation, it absolutely must have a clear purpose.
Okay, purpose.
Meaning it has to solve a real, identifiable problem.
Yeah.
And it needs to create measurable value or benefit. And critically, that benefit has to clearly outweigh the costs involved, not just money, but training time, disruption, everything.
That makes a lot of sense. So before anyone jumps onto the next shiny object, you're saying they need to ask basically 3 key questions.
Yes, fundamentally. First, what actual problem do we have? Second, how specifically does this proposed innovation solve that problem? And third, do the benefits, the real measurable benefits, genuinely outweigh all the costs?
Right. Those seem like the essential filter questions.
Absolutely guide everything else.
Fantastic framework. Okay, so we've sort of defined it. Now, what does all this mean for law firms like right now? Is the legal market actually undergoing some kind of fundamental change, or is this just, another business cycle we're writing?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. What the evidence suggests is that the legal profession is experiencing truly structural changes.
Yeah.
These aren't just the typical cyclical booms and busts.
Structural, meaning?
Meaning the underlying foundations are shifting. For example, the whole more for less challenge from corporate clients, that's huge. It's leading to bigger in-house teams, legal work being broken up and sent to different providers, procurement departments getting heavily involved in choosing law firms.
So intense pressure on the traditional model from clients. What else?
Well, there's also increased competition. You've got the big global accounting firms, PwC, EY, KPMG, Deloitte, expanding their legal service offerings quite aggressively. And then there are the legal process outsourcers, the LPOs, also grabbing market share.
More players in the game.
Definitely. And alongside that, in several major jurisdictions, we're seeing demand for traditional law firm services flattening out. Plus, there's this persistent and, frankly, widening access to justice gap, especially for ordinary people, the middle class.
Right. And I mean, there are also issues within the profession itself, aren't there? Like lawyer well-being.
Absolutely. That's another structural pressure point. We see disproportionately high rates of addiction, depression, anxiety, sadly even suicide among lawyers compared to other professions. It's a serious issue the profession is grappling with.
So external market pressures, internal well-being challenges. What about the people coming into the profession? The new lawyers?
Ah, yes. That's another critical structural shift, talent expectations. Millennial and Gen Z lawyers now make up a really significant portion of the global workforce, and they come with, well, different attitudes and priorities. They prioritize fair compensation, of course. But what's really striking is how much they value workplace flexibility. Studies are showing things like, 92% prefer choosing when and where they work. Nearly 90% would actually choose flexibility and benefits over a pay raise.
Wow, over a pay raise. That's a powerful statement.
It really is. And for many of them, the traditional, very linear associate to partner track, it just doesn't look as stable or appealing as it once did. Some even describe traditional law firm work in pretty stark terms, like soul killing.
That definitely sounds like a massive wake-up call for firms trying to retain talent.
It absolutely should be. Because lawyer turnover is incredibly expensive. Estimates put the cost of recruiting a graduate lawyer around $250,000. And when an experienced lawyer leaves, maybe closer to $400,000, factoring in recruitment, training, lost productivity.
So keeping good people isn't just good for morale, it's financially smart.
Hugely so. Retaining talent is a major financial win. And one more point on talent, while these younger lawyers are often very tech familiar, isn't there an app for this generation?
Yeah.
It's often a mistake to assume they automatically know how to effectively use specific legal technology without proper structured training. We see things like legal tech assessments where initial performance can actually be quite poor until they get the right guidance.
Interesting. So tech savvy doesn't automatically equal legal tech proficient. Okay. So we have business strategy reasons, talent retention reasons. But what about professional obligations? Are there actual ethical duties cropping up for lawyers to engage with tech and innovation?
That's a great question. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, yes, in many places, there's definitely a growing expectation. It might not be an explicit, harshly enforced mandate everywhere yet, but the direction of travel is clear.
Like where?
Well, in the United States, for example, the ABA Model Rule 1.1, Comment 8. That's been adopted by, I think, at least 40 states now. It explicitly requires lawyers to keep abreast of changes, including the benefits and risks associated with relevant technology.
Okay, so a duty of technological competence is becoming standard.
Exactly. And Florida's even gone a step further, mandating 3 hours of specific technology-approved continuing professional development, or CPD, every 3 years. Wow. Canada has also formally amended its National Model Code of Professional Conduct back in 2019 to include a duty of technological competence. Alberta, for instance, has adopted that. Australia may be slightly less aggressive on explicit mandates, but general guidelines, like from the New South Wales Bar Association on Gen AI, make it clear that existing ethical duties, competence, diligence definitely apply to using new technologies responsibly.
So it's really moving beyond just being good business practice. It's weaving into the fabric of professional responsibility itself, isn't it?
It certainly seems that way. And this raises another important point. We're starting to see hints of judicial pressure, too.
Right, so from the courts.
Yeah, there was a notable Canadian case back in 2018, Cass v. 1410088 Ontario Inc. The judge, when dealing with a claim for excessive legal costs for research, actually commented that if, and I quote, artificial intelligence sources were employed, no doubt counsel's preparation time would have been significantly reduced.
Huh. That's white pointed.
It is. And it suggests that down the line, courts might start expecting lawyers to use modern available technology to deliver services efficiently and cost-effectively. This could, in turn, push regulators to be more active in enforcing those rules about efficiency, potentially through technology adoption. Competence might start looking like tech competence.
Okay, so the case for engaging with innovation and tech seems really compelling from multiple angles. Client demands, competition, talent, ethics, even potential judicial expectations. Yet, change is hard, right? Especially in law. Why is it so difficult?
It is incredibly difficult. And there's some interesting research here. Dr. Larry Richards' work, for example, consistently shows lawyers scoring exceptionally high, like in the 90th percentile for skepticism.
Skepticism. Okay, that sounds familiar.
Right. It's almost a professional trait. Combine that deep-seated skepticism with basic human psychology, particularly loss aversion.
Loss aversion.
Yeah, the psychological principle that the pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. We're wired to avoid loss.
I see. So the potential downside of change feels much heavier than the potential upside.
Exactly. Add to that a sort of generational investment in the status quo. People have built careers, firms have built processes around the way things are, and you get significant barriers to wanting to embrace innovation, even when the logic seems clear.
So the resistance is almost baked into the professional culture and our human nature. What's the real danger then if firms or lawyers just resist, if they ignore these shifts we've been talking about?
Well, I think the real takeaway here, the thing to really focus on, is the potentially huge cost of not changing. Ignoring these structural shifts, the evolving ethical landscape, the client pressures, it's becoming a very risky gamble.
It's not just about missing an opportunity, it's about courting risk.
Precisely. Innovation and technology, at the end of the day, they aren't about replacing lawyers wholesale. That's often a misplaced fear. It's really about enhancing how legal services are provided. It's about creating better client experiences, maybe new kinds of services. And fundamentally, it's about building sustainable competitive advantages in a market that, let's be honest, is already, as one commentator put it, awash in good quality lawyers. You need differentiators.
This deep dive really highlights that, doesn't it? That innovation for lawyers isn't or shouldn't be about fear or just throwing out everything we know. It's much more about a critical and necessary reevaluation and adaptation of how we operate. For our clients, yes, but also for our firms and even for our own long-term careers.
That's exactly right. There's that profound quote from Marshall McLuhan. First we shape our tools, then our tools shape us. The legal profession is undeniably being reshaped right now by new tools, new technologies, new ideas, new pressures. And those who resist that reshaping might just find their path forward becomes increasingly challenging.
A powerful thought to end on. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Until next time, keep thinking critically.
That's it for today's episode on LexiCast. If you're looking for more in-depth episodes that can also be claimed as CPD activities, check out our LexiCast CPD Plus page linked in this episode's notes. Follow us now to stay up to date, and we'll see you next time.